One, two, three, ho!
When we last left the Spider-Man universe, Peter's life had been going pretty well actually. New York City is finally on the side of Maguiderman, and Peter plans to propose to Mary Jane. He then attends a Broadway production that she is the star of. The applause isn't very loud, but it's the acoustics. She got the flowers Peter sent her, and those are from James Franco. Franco was also there that night and had a disagreement with Peter about who was responsible for the death of his father, Greg Goblin. This is what prompts Franco to finally take the Joker toxin and complete his transformation into Little Goblin Jr. After years of preparation, he finally confronts Maguiderman in an epic showdown and dies in an alley almost immediately. Peter rushes him to the hospital and he survives, but not his memories though, so that he can hate Peter again at a more convenient time. This is when we are introduced to Flint Marko, an escaped convict on the run from the authorities, but what they don't understand is that he has a sick daughter, so it's actually okay for him to break the law. He's not even a bad guy. He's just had bad luck. Nearby, a group of scientists are running a late-night experiment to see how fast they can spin this pile of sand. The mass of the sand pit changes, but it's probably just a bird. It'll fly away when they fire it up. But it actually was Marko, who was hiding from the police. When they fire up the machine, Marko is still inside. This causes he and the sand to become one, creating a sand man, if you will. He wakes up the next morning with all of the amazing abilities of sand. Meanwhile, Peter's ego begins to inflate after he saves the life of Gwen Stacy, and the city plans to throw him a parade. It is also here that we meet Eddie Brock, a rival photographer who wants to take over Peter's role at the Bugle and won't matter as a character in the movie for another 40 minutes. Franco is released from the hospital and attends the parade where he and MJ watch as Maguiderman kisses Gwen in front of the entire city. It is also here that Marko begins to enact his grand scheme, his sand plan if I may, and attacks the armored truck to get money for his daughter. He is thwarted by Maguiderman, but not before turning the truck into a sand van if you catch my drift, and gets away. Later that night, Peter recognizes Marko's picture at the police station. Turns out there was no new season of Drive-Ins, and Uncle Ben's killer was in fact Sanderson the whole time. Peter then vows to do whatever it takes to make Colonel Sanders pay. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, it sure would be nice if there was something else going on here. I mean, come on, only 5 plot lines? What did they, replace all the desks in the writers' rooms with baby cribs? What did they, fill all the water coolers with warm milk? Why is there not another plot thread for me to keep track of? This is why we are introduced to the Venom symbiote, an extraterrestrial that lands on Earth and bonds to Peter's suit and increases his abilities. But it comes at a cost. It rapidly changes Peter's personality, his suit, and even his hair. But he uses the suit to track down Sandley and kill him with a water pipe. MJ then breaks up with Peter so that she can be with Franco, who has regained his memories. Peter congratulates Franco by throwing a grenade at his head. In a blind rage, Peter humiliates Eddie, gets on up, digs on this, and hits Mary Jane. He realizes he must give up the suit and gives it to Eddie, who then turns around and teams up with Sandlot to destroy Maguiderman once and for all. They kidnap Mary Jane and Peter goes to ask for Franco's help. Franco is still mad about the grenade though and says no, but then his butler comes to tell him that it was not Peter who killed his father, Grinshaw, but rather his father died by his own hand. Franco and Peter team up to save Mary Jane. Franco gets mad at Sandblock, so he throws a grenade at his head, but Venom gets mad at this, so he stabs Franco through the chest, but Peter gets mad at this and throws a grenade at his head, destroying Eddie and the symbiote. Peter then forgives Sandberg and races to find Franco. Peter and MJ stay by Franco's side and hold him in his last moments. He makes up with Peter and says that his name was Harry the whole time, and dies but for real this time.
I'm through with love, I'll never fall again. Said adieu to love, don't ever call again. For I must have you or no one. And so I'm through with love. I've locked my heart, I'll keep my feelings there. I have stocked my heart with icy Frigidaire, and I mean to care for no
Our story ends as Peter dances with Mary Jane with an unsure future in front of them. What will happen? We will find out.